Let's talk anxious avoidant attachment from the point of view of someone who has anxious attachment style. So, I didn't always know that I had anxious avoidant attachment style, or what it was until the second half of 2021, where I was doing research on attachment styles because I had a niece and I wanted to understand how I could have a healthy psychological development and attachment style to other people, so that she could avoid some of the trauma or the difficulty in getting close to people and friendships like me and my sister. I'd say me and my sister are very similar in the sense that we are both anxiously avoidant, except my sister has been, she reacts differently with her anxious avoidant, and I just avoid people altogether, which is the self-sabotage my sister seems to do a bit more. I won't talk about her as such because she might not appreciate me bringing her up anyway. So I'm just going to say that we're both very anxiously attached, but we both kind of react differently and in relationships, and maybe sabotage in different ways. So with the anxious avoidant attachment style, basically it means that we don't have that secure attachment. We believe that other people will fail us. We believe that to get close to someone is not safe. It is against our protective instinct to be close to anyone. And there's reasons why people get anxious avoidant. That being that it could be from trauma, it could be from how you were raised and all that. My anxious avoidant comes from two particular traumatic events that happened when I was 10 and 14, when my mother left for Portugal and I hadn't seen her for months at a time. And that affected me in the sense that when she came back, I couldn't securely attach to her. I was so angry, and that now that trust issues with other people has become a part of my life, and that I don't get close to others other than to be superficial with others, in the sense that I don't have that deep close talks with my friends. And the thing is, I was aware that something was wrong in my certain relationships in the past. Last relationship, I was 19, and I could only stay with these people for 3 months. But I noticed something very strange that I felt was very off about me in these relationships. I noticed that when I was alone, I felt lonely before the relationship. But in that relationship, I noticed a deep discomfort and suffocation when there was someone loving me. And because I didn't know what this was, all I knew is that it was confusing, that I had conflicting feelings between wanting to be in the relationship and wanting to be out of it. It wasn't until later on that I discovered attachment theory, and I realized that those patterns where I could only last 3 months was due to the fact that I was afraid of the abandonment, of the vulnerability. For the anxious avoidant, to get close to someone to that deeply, to the point of deep connection is death. It feels like death to us because it is so unsafe for us. That is where this fearful side of the anxious avoidant comes in. When we start to get really close to someone, it can be like we want to run away and avoid the person. Sometimes when we like someone, we can come in very intensely and bombard that person with, oh, I like you, I want to be with you. And then that in turn can be like push other people away, maybe other people from more normal, stabilized more normal attachment styles are just gonna feel like overwhelmed with that when we come towards like that. But where the avoidant comes in is when we start getting close to the person, we kind of run away and we avoid that intimacy, that vulnerability, those deep talks. And it can become really hard where it pretty much runs your life, and that in the anxious avoidant, it can be very hard for us to know of another way to get close to each other, to other people. So what people should do with the anxious avoidant, depending on how much they're aware of it, is just to realize that they have different experiences and that they have anxiety with closeness due to trauma or whatever that creates that style of attachment. And there's 3 different types of insecure attachment style, and they all affect differently. But to realize, and I've realized that there's other people out there that don't feel that kind of way with attaching to other people. There's people tend to have more, like I've met securely attached individuals where, like, when I walk away, they don't think anything bad of it, and they just continue on talking to me and being trustworthy. And I've met a few of those people, and it can be very unusual when you've all your life, like, I only know people that are either anxiously attached or anxious avoidant attached. Like, my mum's more anxious with attachment. If I don't give her the massages or talk to her, she can feel like I don't care, and it's very hard and confusing. But the way it's affected me is that I just don't open up with my feelings, and the discomfort of getting close to people isn't so much that I don't like being close to people. It's more the discomfort of feeling like they're gonna leave me vulnerable, and that I'm just not gonna have the ability to cope with that loss. So that's where we can tend to swing to avoidant when we start getting close to people. Anyway, in these relationships, I've realized that I had a problem, that I wasn't attaching properly to other people. So I had to, like, I've been going to my counselor, and I've unpacked, the experiences of my mother leaving me twice in my life, and in, like, really vulnerable age groups that it created that. Not that I'm saying that it's her fault, but it's just that with the way you attach, it has to do with mainly how you're raised, and if you have those secure attachments. I can remember as a child, I didn't really have those secure attachments where I could feel safe and be open with someone. There was none of that conversations with, well, how you're feeling and all of that. It was just like... sorry, it's just learning how to manage other people's explosive tantrums. And so I didn't really learn how to regulate emotions or to discuss my discomfort of getting close to people or getting vulnerable with people. It's only till now that I've realized that there is something wrong with the way I attach to someone, and being just aware that that it's not a life that is fun or a way that I want to live in this world. I've realized that with this anxious avoidant style, being alone doesn't solve it. It's like the loneliness becomes a thing. But once I start getting close to other people, it's the discomfort of being close. So you can't win, basically, with this style of attaching. And so I know that I have deep problems with the way that I attach to others, and that there could be opportunities to get closer to my friends and all that, but we're only on the superficial level. And I know that. I know that there's probably a lot of things that I deal on my own and I don't vent to my friends with that because of feeling unable to trust or the other reasons why. And so I'm very aware that I pretty much have a problem with the way that I attach to other people. And so I've just been working on that. But I just want people to understand that anxious avoidant isn't really the person's fault. It's just the way that they became hardwired to, survive emotional neglect or to survive any kind of trauma, is, to just kind of build this safe distance away from others where you're not getting close to anyone, but they're there, so you're not feeling lonely. And so it's just important to understand that anxious avoidant people know that we can be a bit toxic in a way, that we could probably open up a bit more about their emotions and discomfort of getting close, and build. All healthy relationships require us talking about our feelings. And with my style, I know that I can come a bit strong to people, and then once I don't get the reaction I get, I tend to go avoidant. And I know that it's not a healthy way of coping, and I know that I could probably be more transparent and maybe talk a bit more about how I'm feeling. But until a few years ago, I didn't even have the awareness of what this style meant and in my relationship. So it's only really now that I've started to unpack it, and as to the why getting close to people is so uncomfortable, and why it's so hard, but why being alone I feel lonely. And so, yeah, if this helps anyone understand a bit more about other people that pull away and are a bit anxious and avoidant, then I've done my job as in explaining the effect that it has. But I think it's very important that people to understand that everyone has a different way of growing up, and that these insecure style of attachments isn't the person's fault. It's just a byproduct of whatever trauma or whatever coping style they had. It is very vital for a child to have those close bonds with other people, and when that doesn't happen, there is these styles of avoidance can or any of these three insecure styles happen. Anyway, thank you for listening. Have a good day.